starting Be'ez Hashem Siman Kuf Ayin Dalad Vayol Moshe. Uviyosi B'Yerushalayim B'Parshas Dvarim Ho'ala Aleinu V'Toiva. That this year 1959, Rebbe was in Yerushalayim. He made, I think, 4 trips after.
When was the Yom Moshe written?
In 1959.
It was the same
year. So he made 4 trips after Hakamas Medina to Yerushalayim, to Eretz Yisrael.
Why did he go there for?
Why did he go? Because he was appointed in 1951 or 52. He was appointed as the Av Bezin of Yerushalayim instead of Rav Bengus. After Rav Bengus was Nifter, the Rebbe didn't live in Yerushalayim. They hoped he would, but he said, "I'll agree to come once every few years to Yerushalayim in order to come and support the Moistus there and to give drashas and to help them to hold out against the current of Zionism." So he did come in 1952, 55, 59, and 65. Those 4 times. Yeah. So in 59, right before writing, during actually the Vayol Moshe was written already almost, and I think on the ship to Eretz Yisrael he was writing the Toichen Ho'anyanim, the little summaries in the back. So it was basically written, but he added on this siman obviously then. So he's saying, when I was in Yerushalayim this summer, Amarti Sham be'emtza drasha, I said in the middle of the drasha, L'farish masha nemar v'yoimru toiva haaretz asher Hashem Elokeinu noisim lanu. That in Parshas Dvarim it says, Moshe Rabbeinu told over the story of the Meraglim, and he said that the Meraglim went to Eretz Yisrael, and he said they came back and they said the land is good, v'lo yavisem la'alois, but you didn't want to go up. So it sounds like Moshe is skipping over the main point of the story. The Meraglim were the ones who were hoitzi dibas haaretz. They said bad about Eretz Yisrael. And Moshe is saying, no, the Meraglim said the land is good, but you didn't want to listen to the Meraglim. That's how Moshe tells the story.
But they said...
Right, so Pirish Rashi Zal, so Rashi says what's pshat in that.
But really they didn't say it's bad, they said we can't conquer. They really didn't say the land is horrible or ugly.
They said Eretz Oichelos Yosh Ve'ahi. They said bad about it. Alright? But Pirish Rashi Zal, Rashi says, Rashi's quoting the Sifri, Mihem Sha'amru Toivasa, who were the ones who said it was good? Yoshua V'Kalev. Only they said it was Toiva Haaretz Moed Moed. But the other one said it was bad. So the cost of Alzer Ramban Zal, the Ramban asks, Vani Tama, I'm asking on this. Im Kain Ma Taina Hazoi Saleim. What's the problem with what the Yidden did? Really, the Yidden had a right to believe 10 over 2. Who are you going to believe? 10 people say it's bad and 2 people say it's good. So what do you want from the Yidden? Of course they're going to believe the 10 people. So the Ramban says, Ulai Ton Aleim Kivan Shakodesh Baruch Hu Hoidia Eschem Shehit Eretz Toiva. So maybe the Tanya was that Hashem already told them that it was good. Ugedoyle Ashluchim, and the 2 greatest of the people who were the Meraglim, Yeshua and Kalev, that Tzadikim Shabohem, Af Heim Me'idim came. They're also saying that it's good. So even though the 10 say it's bad, but Hoyel Lachem Lahamin Kiyo Acherim. You should have believed Yoshua and Kalev because you should say that the other 10 said it because they were afraid. Because as they themselves said, that they were afraid to go up. They said, so because they said that, you should be told that the reason why they said it was bad was also because of that. Okay, that's the Ramban's limud zchus on Rashi, but now the Ramban argues. The right pshat is what I said there. The Ramban said over there in Parshas the Shlach Lecha. Shekulam hoidu lifnei Moshe v'Aaron v'chol ha'eda v'amru banu el ha'aretz asher shlachtonu v'gam zavas chalav v'dvash. So all the Meraglim said it was good, not just Yoshua and Kalev.
Yeah.
They all said eretz zavas chalav v'dvash. They all agreed it was good. It's only because they said that the people are too strong for us. They said that melted the hearts of the Yidden. That made the Yidden not want to do it. When Yoshua and Kalev said yes, we could do it. So then when they saw that, then they came secretly to the Bnei Israel and they said bad about the land. That's the Ramban's pshat. So basically all the Meraglim said it was good, so there's no excuse that you could say I'm believing the majority of them. No, they all said it was good. Just afterwards, they said it was bad in order to stop Yoshua and Kalev from succeeding. Gan beparsha Shlach hechlit pirish zeh. The Ramban and Shlach also says this pshat because of achar kach shelo niztarch lo imar ki al Yoshua v'Kalev amar Moshe Kain. And he says again that you don't have to say that only Yoshua and Kalev said it was good. Ki lama yishmu l'shnayim v'lo yaminu l'asara. Again, the same kasha. Why should they listen to 2 out of 12? Ukafia nireh nota mimasha dachak l'taretz divrei Rashi zal. He goes against Rashi and he doesn't want to use his excuse, his limud chus, whatever that he said on Rashi. Why not? Sha'ach Yoshua v'Kalev amru tovas ha'aretz. The only Yoshua and Kalev were the ones who said it. Yan sheshar meraglim amru eretz oicheles yoshveha hi. Because the others said it was bad. K'moi shabir ha're'im bazeh. That's how the re'im learns the pshat in Rashi. And the Ramban answers again that the taina is that they should have listened to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he says no. The Ramban didn't like that. Deve'emes einu muvan teretz zeh. This is not good because Shahaya Taina Mashaloi Haminu Yeshua V'Kalev Yan Shakadosh Baruch Hu Amar Kain. The Ima Taina B'Shvil Shakadosh Baruch Hu Amar Kain. If you're going to have tainas because they didn't listen to Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Ein Nafkamina B'Masha Amru Gam Yeshua V'Kalev Ki Yehuda V'Oid L'Kra. It doesn't matter that Yeshua and Kalev also said it. So what are you mentioning them for? Just say the taina is because Hakadosh Baruch Hu said it was good. So who cares what the Meraglim said? They're like extraneous. You don't need their testimony. No other creation in the world makes any difference when it comes to listening to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. If the whole world would say that it's bad, could they then deny what Hakadosh Baruch Hu said? So it must be that it wasn't so clear cut that Hashem said it was good. Not everybody could understand what Hashem meant clearly and truthfully. Maybe the reason why they didn't listen to him is because they knew that he agreed to send the Meraglim. So they understood from that that they have to rely on what the Meraglim say. And listen to what and believe whatever they say. Right? So in Kain, Hatmiya Kayemes. We're back to the kasha. Why should they believe 2 against 10? All the Meraglim were good. They were all chosen by the greatest generation that ever lived. Al Pi Hashem, Liyos Nisim Aleim, and Hashem agreed to the choice. K'mavur Hashem b'medrash. Al Kain, not the Ramban, Midas Rashi Zal. That's why the Ramban disagrees with Rashi. And he goes and says a different shot that everybody unanimously agreed that it was good.
Right.
Okay?
What I said before, exactly.
That's the Ramban. But the question is, Rashi.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with Rashi? The other kasha that the Ramban asks on Rashi in Parsha Shlach is not really the main kasha. The Ramban asks there, I sent from you, really it says vo'ekach mikem, I think, Shnei Masar Nashim, ish echad l'shavet, va'aleim amar va'yashivu aisanu davar. And regarding those 12 people, it says they came back and they said it was good. So kvar kosev Ramban atzmoi, the Ramban himself says b'chama mekoimus she kam upon derech haksuvim lekatzer. That many psukim are makatzer, ve'enim mefarish b'sipur, mi ha'oimra. They don't say exactly who said it, so it could be in the Chanami. It says v'yashivu v'yisal nedavar, that the 12 meraglim will give back the word, and then when it comes back and when it came back and they said toiva haaretz, maybe it's not all 12 of them. He doesn't mention that kasha in Dvarim. The real kasha is what he says in both places, which is why believe 2 against 10. But Rashi is not, we can't just leave Rashi and disagree with him because it's the Sifri. This is what the Sifri says. Mi Amar Toivasa, who said it was good? Yoshua v'Kalev. And Moshe Rabbeinu still says the time on the Jews is they didn't want to go. You see explicitly in Chazal, the Tanya was they didn't listen to Yoshua and Kalev. They're the only ones who said it was good. The Ramban's other pshat that he says they all said it was good, so that's against Chazal. So he says, of course, there's 70 ways to learn Torah, and you could always say your own pshat. You could always say a different pshat from Chazal. But you can't completely discard Chazal's pshat. Chazal says something, you have to explain it too. We have to answer up the Ramban's kasher on Chazal. So therefore, I want to explain like this. The Or Chaim HaKadosh, which the Rebbe brought down once before in siman Kuf Mem Zayin. If you recall, back there he was talking about reasons that people could make a mistake. Even great Gedolim could make a mistake. Mm-hmm. So he mentions over there the Meraglim were very great. First he talks about Shalom Melech, and he says the Meraglim were very great. In Kuf Mem Zayin he brings the Or Chaim HaKadosh because they were shluchim of people who were bad, they became bad too. So he says here, same thing again. It's an amazing, unbelievable thing. It says, Kulam Anashim, Rashiv and Israel Hema. They were all great people. They were all great people. Moshe consulted with Hashem before he appointed each one of them. And Hashem said, yes, these people are good people to pick. Because of what happened later on, they became changed around. So the question is, how could that happen? How did they become transformed so quickly? All these 10 tzaddikim. Because those who sent them had a bad kavanah to test out HaKadosh Baruch Hu and see if it was really true. So tifol poil hara b'shliach. Their bad kavanah would have an effect on the shliach. Because shluchah shel adam k'moisai. The bad influence goes into the shliach. Was not there before. The same thing happens the other way around. If someone sends someone to do a mitzvah, even if they're not so great to begin with, they become greater. Even though the Meraglim were starting out good, but when they went and they did the Maisa of going in the Shlichus of Bnei Israel, they became bad. And that's why they gave the Eitzah to go off the derech. Ad kan l'shoynai. All the things that those 10 Meraglim said, it all came from the das of the people who sent them. That tchuna ra entered their consciousness. Even though the Yidden of that generation were taka very great, they were bigger, more righteous, like I brought before, and that's in siman Kuf Gimel, where the Rebbe was discussing the medrash that says Halavai Yubonai Imi, as long as my children will be with me, even if they're over on the Torah, I want them with me. So it's talking about the Dor Day, it's talking about the Dor Midbar. So the Dor Midbar is very great. But since in this aspect, this sending of Meraglim, they did something wrong, so Garmu Masha Garmu, they caused the Meraglim to go off, and that's why the Meraglim said what they said. So this answers the Ramban's question. That there was a taina on the Yidden why they listened to the 10 over the 2. Why? They were responsible for the fact that these 10 people said what they said, because they created that tchuna ra. Because they changed their minds because of what the tzibur wanted. So they should have listened to the 2, to Yeshua and Kalev, even though they're the minority. Since they stayed with their original opinion, they didn't change over and follow the tzibur. That's the siman that it's good. Okay? And we can't excuse the Jews for believing the 10 who didn't say that. That was a very a tiny against the Yidden that these 10 people said this. Sha'al Yolam Nishapchu Dasam Rubim, because they caused those 10 people to change their minds. Af Elu Shahid Tzadikim, even though these 10 people were originally Tzadikim. Was that bara? So the nimshal is that in today's generation, if you have a Rav who gets up and speaks to his shul and he says something that they want to hear, okay, Lav Davka, you should listen to him, because maybe he's just saying it because you want to hear it. But if you have a Rav who comes in and says Musa that you don't want to hear, that's the Musa you should listen to, because chances are it's his own opinion. It's not biased, it's not influenced by you. So the same thing, if Yidden in the time of the Medina would listen to those who are against the Medina, that would mean something. If they listen to people who are pro-state, pro-Zionist,
of course.
Yeah, it's them, it's their own influence. People like the rabbi who say the nevuah is happy. People want to hear that, of course. Yeah. The nevuah, the rabbi. People want to hear it, of course. Today it's even more than this. It's not just a secret spiritual influence that somehow comes into the minds of people. It's something much more than that. Today, unfortunately, the Aguda and all the parties, the Mizrahi and all the different parties that have to do with Aguda. Now it's split up into different parties. And and those who joined them, and B'tchunasam hara v'hamara, with their bad and bitter character. Rahman al-Itzlan el hamanhigim. So all these people who are not tzaddikim, not rabbanim, they come to the rabbanim, b'tachbula shoynes, with different tricks, umeshunais, different crazy tricks that they made up, uve'emtsaim shoynim, with different methods, la'aver einei ha'olam, to blind the eyes of the public. And one of these, the most famous of these, is of course the Kol Koirei of the year Tafshin Tes, the first Zionist election. What year is that? 1949. The first Zionist election. They gathered signatures for people who agreed to vote for the Chazis Dasis, the United Religious Front between the Mizrahi and the Aguda. And of course, how did they gather the signatures? They sent out letters in the mail. And they wrote in the letter, if you don't answer the letter, we're going to count your signature. So they put tons of signatures on it, saying that they signed. Some of the people weren't even alive anymore. It's like also kasher, the rabbi signed the declaration. So kasher took this, but the rabbi who did sign, they signed for him. Yeah, so kasher made a good, and he even took dead people's signatures. So kasher made a big thing, and then what happened was
dead people signing is the age-old tactic.
There were 3 Kol Koireis in 1949, and not all of them said the same thing. Some of them said to vote. Some of them said they all said to vote, but some of them said that it's the Nitzanim Harishonim Shal Kibbutz Galias, and afterwards they changed that to say Aschalta de Geula. They played with it, and then they took all the names and put them all on one Kol Koirei. Kasher pretended that all 100 people signed one Kol Koirei, and then Rabbi Yosef came afterwards. And don't comment on this, but he came afterwards and he said, based on them, that it's allowed to say halal, because 100 people already signed on it. This was Kasher's influence. Kitzer. Now, what's another famous thing they did? The Chazon and the brisker. Chazon and the brisker never paskin that you can vote in the elections, but they took something that the brisker wrote in Brisk during an election in Brisk, that you should go vote for the elections in Poland, right? Yeah. And they took that and they reprinted it during the time of the State of Israel, and they said, okay, before one of the elections, the brisker says it's an achrayis gadol, you have to go out and vote and everything. Of course, what did he say? He said it in Brisk. They reprinted it. The Chazon, now by the way, the brisker sons agreed to reprint it, but the brisker sons, they didn't pass either that you should vote for the whatever parties, the Aguda party, but they wanted that people should vote. If they're going to vote anyway, they should vote for the Aguda. That was the svara, but not that you should vote. The Chazon also they claim that he passed that you should vote, and they bring stories. Like they bring a story that the Chazon saw somebody and he said to him, "Are you going to vote? Did you vote yet?" He said, "I don't have time." He said, "Go even before davening." He said, "I'm not afraid that you're going to forget to daven." That's the story they say. Now, when was that story said? It was the municipal election in Bnei Brak. It wasn't the election to the State of Israel. Again, they take different tachbula shoynes and they blind the eye And now, anytime a kol koyer comes out in favor of voting, it says that we're doing the shlichus of the kamoi, we're doing the shlichus of the generations before, and the Chazon and the brisker and everything else. Okay, now, v'shuv toinim sherabi mimon. Then they go and they say, yeah, we have the majority on our side. Aval hein hema shohelidu deis hoelu b'misper hamruba. They are these activists themselves who got people to sign. They're the ones who made them be on that side. So they can't go and afterwards say, oh, we have the majority, so you have to follow us. Even those among them who still have the emes and still know the truth, they're still afraid to speak their minds. Because they're afraid of the public. The tzibur is very powerful, and it confuses them. So it's for sure that we don't follow the majority in such a case. Besides all the reasons that I've been bringing in all the previous simanim about this, which are understood to those who are honest about it. The Yavitz, Rabbi Yaakov Emden says, that if a person knows the truth, even if he sees that he's the only one, even if there's no one else on your side, don't be afraid to say the truth. Someone who looks with an open eye, there are still, thank God, alive, alafim b'Yisrael, there are thousands of Yidden alive, that still know the truth. But the majority is still not like that. That are off, and they're straying, and they're confusing other people. Those are the people who were against. So we can't go on about this more. We need to have Hashem's mercy and the kaval Hashem Yisborach. Hashem should not forget us, not leave us.